The Democrats have announced Project 2029, which is incredibly cringe because it tries to copy, Project 2026 that the Republicans were making. And so, look, do you not have like any people there that can come up with their own name? Are you guys running such creatively broken people that you're having to steal stuff from the other side? But anyway, what they propose is to not allow children to have smartphones in school, which obviously is a good idea. I don't even think this is controversial. It's difficult to enforce because if you are a parent and you don't let your kid have the phone in school, then he's going to start complaining and it's going to be like, but all the other cool kids have phones in schools. Dad, why are you so provincial? Why are you so old, Dad? Why are you so old-fashioned? Like, literally everyone has a phone in school but me. Why are you embarrassing me, Dad? What is wrong with you? Why do you want my reputation to take a hit? Do you not want me to have a social network of friends? Right? And it's a legitimate criticism, right? And so, if nobody is allowed to have phone in school, then you can just tell your child, it's like, look, I would love to have you with a phone in school, but my hands are tied. It's the government that's doing this to you. This is why you need to despise the government, son. Right? And then you can have a child that grows up to be a pillar of the community that respects his family first and hates the government second. But the other problem with this law is obviously the fact that they don't want children on social media. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you poll people, if you poll someone like myself, I too would say yes, it's probably a bad idea to let your child unsupervised on social media. But if you actually say how you plan on enforcing this, in other words, make every single adult have to show their face, have to go into a database to be logged, to be tracked by the government, to make sure that adults aren't children, to listen to everything the adults post online, just to make sure that no adult is trying to groom or whatever, I think that is way too much power for the government. I think that the government should actually have limits. I don't think it should be this eldritch deity that can do whatever it wants. Right? And so, because I think that the government should have limits and it shouldn't be infinite, people will say, well, so therefore you're against protecting children. You're a harm, right? This is how the conversation works. Because it's for protecting children, if you put it that way, then surely there can be no counter argument. And surely if there is only one possible solution to protect children and nobody can think of any other, I don't know, for example, making smartphones for kids and forcing kids to have those smartphones, then, well, what can you do, right? You just gotta allow the government to grow in power. You just gotta. There's no other way. Now, the interesting thing is, as I mentioned before, it's the Democrats coming up with it. And it's very interesting. First of all, it's just like the Republicans with their Project 2026. The Democrats can just distance themselves from it. They just basically say, well, this is not ours, just a proposal, we're not running with it. And when it's enacted, the proposal just becomes fact. And it's like, well, you guys voted for it. The Republicans did this with Project 2026. But again, any smart person seeing what the Republicans did can assume that the Democrats are going to do the same if they're actually copying the textbook, right? The second issue is the fact that they're basically saying, okay, well, this is what we want to do. And so if you voted for them, you consent. You can't complain anymore, right? This is the will of the people. It's very smart because a lot of people will vote Democrat specifically because they dislike the Republicans. And they dislike the Republicans for various reasons. Some of them I would consider sincere, and some of them I would consider well-warranted. For example, Donald Trump has said that if you vote for him, he is not going to do a war with Iran. This is what he said. He also said if you vote for him, he will unleash the Epstein files. Did he say that? He said that, right? Okay, well, for some voters, they could watch this as a betrayal. And so some people that are disappointed with how the Republicans have acted will teach them a lesson. They'll vote Democrat. But when they do that, it's not going to be interpreted like they voted Democrat because they disagreed with the war in Iran. I know they voted Democrat because they want to keep their children safe. And as such, they need to now be monitored on social media. Listen, I understand that the Republicans aren't perfect and they didn't do everything they promised. But what I think the Republicans have done was to keep away the mental illness from the Democrats. Like, everything that the Republicans do pales in comparison with what the Democrats have done during the Jack Dorsey era. Do you guys remember that? When, if you ask the AI, can you tell me a joke about Europeans? It would. Can you tell me a joke about Africans? It wouldn't. If you asked Google image to draw you a pope, it would draw a black woman as a pope. Do you remember that? Right? I remember that. I remember the censorship. I remember the fear. I remember the terror on social media when people couldn't talk to each other during the Jack Dorsey era. If you tell the journalists to learn to code, you could have your social media back. I remember that. Okay? These are the people that may actually return to power. Do you think they're going to use a gentle hand? Do you think? Because I don't. I don't think they will use a gentle hand. I think that they're going to water down Section 230. I think that they're going to crack down on social media even harder. And say what you will, but the Republicans at least allow the social media to basically act like independent companies. Not perfectly, not to 100% degree, but nowhere near as what Joe Biden have done when he was in office. And if the Democrats come again, they will yet make the social media companies their vassals. I see what's happening in Australia. I see what's happening in the United Kingdom. I have no reason to doubt that the Democrats will not do exactly the same if they come to power in the United States. And they're going to use child safety in order to legitimize it. Hopefully they don't win, because like right now is when the entire world is going mentally ill. You know, just like during the pandemic, they went mentally ill with the lockdowns. Now they're going mentally ill with this shit. If there are some countries that resist, and then people can notice a difference between like how it's in Australia, how it's in the UK, how it's in the EU, and how it's in the United States, then people can actually have examples and they say, well, hold on a little bit. Their kids aren't dying. Their nation isn't mentally ill. Why can't we be like them? That would actually be a good thing. And this is what worries them, right? Because they know that once the people actually see the policies they're advocating being enforced against them, they will freak out, right? And so like if everybody does it at the same time, then it feels like you being against it. It's kind of like you being against history. I disagree. I think we should actually have a couple of countries that resist this, so that in 6-8 years you can finally have, if not policies reversing it, at least people calling politicians cretins if they try to push more policies in this direction. Because politicians will keep pushing and pushing and pushing until people say enough. And if people don't say enough, there's no reason for them not to take a little bit more, right? So we'll see. But if anyone had hopes, the moment the Democrats come to power, they will... No. Because you have to understand how this works. It's not ideological, right? It's not that one day Democrats thought, we need to keep kids safe. Give me a fucking break. No. Corporations, especially the social media companies, have poured hundreds of millions of dollars in order to make this happen. Because they benefit, right? First of all, AI makes it very difficult for companies to know if it's a real person or if it's a bot. And so the advertisers do not know if their adverts are actually being shown to 10,000 people or 10,000 bots. And they can actually sue the social media companies, right? And so the social media companies, by forcing everyone to dox themselves, is making sure that the person behind the account is an actual human being, regardless if where or not that person has their identity stolen and gets on the dark web. Social media companies do not give a shit about that, right? The government benefits as well, because now they can ask social media for more information. Like whenever there's a protest, a riot, or something like that, the government can make sure that they know who said what on social media. They can now block people from creating new social media accounts if this passes. And it's going to be expanded to other things like hate speech, things that may not even be illegal. because we already see what's being done in the UK, EU, and Australia. And of course, it's the Chinese system, right? But more importantly, social media companies also benefit because complying to this is very expensive. Like, I understand that a single verification, right, from one of these third companies is 0.20 cents. So do the math and find out if you have like a website like 4chan and now you have to verify everyone that goes there. How much money do you have to spend to comply, right? And so like upstarting companies, like smaller social medias that want to make their own websites, will not be able to, right? Because they would be in violation. So of course, like the current tech giants, they want to maintain the status quo. So everyone benefits except your children, except you. And I think it's an IQ test. Like if you generally think this is about children, I think you're a moron. I don't have anything else to say. And if you think this is about children, then literally you agree that the government is infinite. And as long as they say we're doing it to protect children, they can do literally everything. Like, there is no limit, right? Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, we'll see each other in the comment section. Take care.